Welcome to B&B Movie Reviews. This week, Viola Davis protects her family against crypto terrorists, and we look at the dark side of adolescence.
We also have a full season review of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again. Stay there, B&B is coming right up.
Why would a mercenary take on the G20?
What?
Wait, you call me a mercenary? Lady, you fought a war over gasoline.
I served my country just as I serve it now.
Yeah, blindly. You serve it blindly.
You were used by them then, and they're using you now.
So you feel used? That's why you terrorize the world and crash markets?
We want to switch to cryptocurrency so that...
Bullshit. This isn't about crypto. You want to crash currencies to get rich? It seems like something personal. What are you after?
I'm after you.
Amanda Waller versus Homelander, the matchup we've been waiting for in the geopolitical thriller G20, currently streaming on Prime Video. Brad.
Yes?
Prime Video, G20.
Yes?
This is, I guess, the new film with Viola Davis and Anthony Starr.
Mm-hmm. I love science fiction. It's like one of my favorite movies because, like, can you imagine a world in which the president was battling crypto terrorists and not making their own crypto? Boy, I'd love to live there. I love the multiverse, you know?
Yeah, science fiction. Yeah, you're right, science fiction.
You know, Viola Davis is awesome.
She's great.
I'll watch any movie, clearly.
Very
any
true.
movie with Viola Davis.
Very true.
And she always delivers. And she rocks in this film.
Yeah, she does.
You know, she's got guns out and she is taking care of bad guys.
Yeah.
And the opening of this film where you get to see the president practicing their martial arts on the White House lawn, I was like, okay, this is like some, you know, Air Force One shenanigans that I can get into. I am ready to watch the president battle some crypto terrorists.
Olympus has fallen.
Yes, give it to me.
Let's have Viola Davis and Aaron Eckhart have a president off.
Oh, please. Why does it take so long for Viola Davis to start kicking butt in this movie?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's agonizing.
It does take a long while for that to happen. We have to sit through a lot of setup of Anthony Starr. I don't even remember this character's name. What's called Homelander Lights. But like all his setup, him like basically infiltrating to become the security detail at the G20 summit.
Yeah, and giving him the motivation, you know, he has a lot of reasons to be mad at the United States. You know, well, you know, like, you know, foreign policy and how we treat our veterans and, you know, how we incorporate organizations like Blackwater. Like, they're trying to do things.
Yeah, but I think ultimately he's kind of like Hans Gruber. He's just a thief.
Oh, I wish he was Hans Gruber. You know, like, I love Anthony Starr, and I'm not here to rag on Anthony Starr.
No, he's a great actor.
Given the material, I think he would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I just think he's got very little to play with.
He doesn't have a lot. He doesn't have a lot.
And he is trying to chew scenery, right?
Yeah.
But this scenery is bare. He's chewing on weeds.
Yeah.
Once we finally do get action, and once Viola Davis is cracking goons on the head with, you know, irons, there are some moments of of excitement there.
Yeah.
And you know, there's like a sequence in which Viola Davis cracks a dude's neck, and I'm like, yeah, that's how I want to go out. You know, and I want to see her do that with more people. If this really had been Viola Davis going full Harrison Ford, you know, against a Gary Oldman, you know, I think we could have had something really fun in G20 because the setup is exciting. You know, where would some crypto terrorists attack, right? If you could get access to the G20 summit, let's go.
Yeah.
And then the way that G20 summit, like that table room kind of turns into an arena at the end and it's like this Mortal Kombat match. I like I like the idea.
Okay.
The execution is awful.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, I'm not familiar with the director of this movie as well, but I just gotta say, or the cinematographer, because the movie looks terrible.
Oh, it looks like trash.
I mean, it looks horrible.
The filter, the Instagram filter that they have layered on this entire movie is so awful. And the special effects, you know, and I'm not one to like really rag on a movie with bad special effects. I can watch movies from the 30s, and I know that like that stop motion animation dinosaur is not real, but the story is engaging, and I am there. So I think if the movie had meat,
that's what I'm saying.
It would be good.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Because the movie, because the movie and the story and the characters don't really hold up, then it makes everything else so more glaring. And then I'm looking at, you know, the green screen.
That helicopter, man.
That whole sequence in the third act.
Laughable.
It's just, it really is. And then it's just like, so I don't know, man. It just none of that really worked for me.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the choices that Viola Davis is making, and I would love to know her thoughts behind why she would make a movie like G20. I imagine it's something like, you know, you don't see people like Viola Davis making movies like G20 every day, right? So there's like a tremendous opportunity here.
That's what I'm saying.
And I hate to rag on a movie that gives Viola Davis this moment to do this kind of thing.
Exactly, and maybe this is something that she wanted to kind of tackle, and like you say, these opportunities don't come that often. So, you know, I want to see her do more stuff, you know, like
but
this.
like your Amazon, put some money up.
That's what I'm saying, because it just looks way too cheap. So it's just like, I don't know, man. What's your rating for this one?
You know, we're the B&B show. If we recommend something, we give it a B+. If we tell you, you know, watch something else, go watch Sinners again, we give it a B-. This has got to be a B-.
Yeah, this is one that I would definitely say, don't watch this again. Definitely watch something else. I don't even think I would even put this on in the background. It's just not worth your time, unfortunately. I hate to say that because I do like Viola Davis a lot, but this just is not the vehicle for her. So, yeah, this is a B- for both of us. So stay right there. Stephen Graham is trying to wrestle with his adolescent teen. Yeah, stay right there.
Today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. A victory that is there for the taking. Grab it.
Now that was a great halftime speech. Let's go win.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
KT wrote this on your Facebook feed.
Facebook?
Instagram.
Are you all right? You look a bit red. Did I scare you when I shouted?
She wrote this on your
I mean,
Instagram.
I'm only 13. I don't think I look that scary.
Could you tell me what these emojis
Oh,
are?
how embarrassing is that? Getting scared of a 13-year-old. Wow.
13-year-old Jamie taunts his therapist about being scared of him in the riveting psychological drama Adolescence, currently streaming on Netflix. Trigger warning for parents. You need to watch this movie, but it is going to put you through the ringer.
Oh my God, yeah, try to trigger. I mean, we're not parents, but I say trigger warning for us, because I'll tell you this right now. Those it's 4 episodes. It's a miniseries. Those last 2 destroyed me.
Yeah, there are so many ways we could navigate this conversation we're about to have. We could start in a myriad of different places, right?
Yeah.
I would like to start with the filmmaking. Because it is some of the most exciting filmmaking I have seen. It's kind of awesome watching Adolescence coming off of a movie like Sinners. Because this is a show that can only be a show. It could only be a film. It could only be happening in this particular medium. You know, it's all done in real time. It is a single shot every episode. And, you know, I would think that it's kind of digitally stitched together a la 1917. But then you come to learn, like, no, they did this play style. They just shot this thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think we're trained as audiences now to anytime we see a oneer, to think that, especially if it's a complex one, that they stitched it somewhere. And I did see a couple of behind the scenes kind of vignettes about the making of Adolescence and the type of cameras that they use, because I think they used like the Ronin 4D camera, the DJI Ronin 4D. I saw that one shot from episode 2 where they attach it to the drone, and it goes from the school to where Stephen Graham is, where he's like paying homage to the victim. So I've seen like different vignettes, but like I said, we're trained to think that, oh, wait a minute. Now, there is some visual effects.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely visual effects, yeah.
But, yeah, sometimes I think we're trained as audience members like, no, this is not a true oneer.
Yeah, and like that oneer in episode 2 that goes from the father and son, the police officer and his son at the school, leaving the girl who he had just interviewed, walking off into the distance, and then the camera taking off, flying over the town, and then going to the murder site of the young girl, and then Stephen Graham, the father, lays the flowers down in the experience. Like, it is the type of filmmaking where you can get caught up in the how did they do that, the wonder of achieving shots like this. But thankfully, the movie has a lot of emotional content that is undeniable.
No, it's undeniable. And I think the filmmaking, the technical aspect of the filmmaking plays into that, because you talk about real time. And the thing I like about real time, and even if something takes place in one location, we always talk about stage plays. And I think this is like an actor's dream, to do something like this. Or
nightmare, depending on the actor.
That's true. Yeah, depending on the actor. But I think this is something that an actor can really chew on and really go deep into the characters that they're creating and building and living with this family that has to deal with this horrific tragedy.
Well, what works so well with the real-time one shot of Adolescence in each of its episodes is it creates a sense of claustrophobia. There is no escape as an audience member. You can turn it off, you can close your eyes, but it's not stopping. You are stuck here. The first episode, which is about this, the title kid being arrested. We go through the process of the warrant being served and then the processing of a child in a British jail cell, or in a British prison. Not prison, police station.
Police station.
Yeah, and it is so agonizing, and I think we're trained on decades of movies in which people are persecuted, they're wrongfully convicted, they're innocent, you got the wrong person. We wouldn't stay with a child who didn't do it. So you're watching this kid get processed and you're empathizing with him and you're going like, oh my God, I can't imagine being in this situation. I can't imagine being the father in this situation. And then the reveal of that first episode, and I mean, like, my stomach fell out.
Dude, I still couldn't believe, again, how we are trained as audiences. And I'm still, even after we get to the end of that first episode.
When you're in episode 2, you're going like, did I see in episode 1 what I thought I saw in episode 1?
Yeah, what I thought I saw. And it's just like, so I'm still wrestling with like, is this real? Like, did he actually? But you're right. And then Stephen Graham going to his performance in that moment at the end of episode 1. And then also in relation, when you talk about like the one shot, I want to go to episode 4 when he's having the conversation with his wife and what he knows as opposed to what she knows, because she wasn't in the room when he actually saw the tape.
Yeah, and then that decision and how that reverberates through all the rest of the episodes. Like, you went in, you were, because they make this whole deal about how, you're the what's the phrase that they use? You're the official guardian of this child in this moment. Do you want somebody else? Do you want to be it? Do you want the mom to be it? And the decision for the father to be it, is going to haunt him for the rest of his life, and it's going to haunt his wife for the rest of her life, and maybe haunt everybody in that room for the rest of their lives.
It will. It's heartbreaking. Like, oh my God, those last 2 episodes destroyed me. Well, like the therapist episode, the 3, the end when he has the call with his son. Yeah, and I don't want to give too much away.
But the third episode is maybe the most fascinating episode because it is just really two people in a room having a conversation. You know, the therapist talking to the kid and trying to figure out, you know, not so much if the kid did or did not do it, but what is this kid's psychology? You know, what has this kid been marinating in for his 13 years? You know, and it's really in that episode that I come to the decision that the movie goes like, no, there's no escape of what actually happened. You may be wishing and wanting this to be a different type of story, but it's not.
Like just like how the parents are, but they can't deny what we saw and what they saw.
And then you get to that fourth episode where Stephen Graham, as the father, has his 50th birthday while his son is in jail. It's like a year jump, right, from the first episode. And we get in the car with this family. We experience what they talk about. We go to the hardware store. Then we come back all in one shot.
It is just, it's a feat. What's your rating for this?
It's one of the best things that I've watched this year. I cried so much throughout the entire experience. I think you do need to prepare yourself. This isn't like a Saturday night program. But I do think that we should all be watching this movie or this show and thinking about how we are pickling our children online.
B plus. It's a B plus for me. The end of this series in episode 4, there's a conversation that he has with his wife, which made me think about the idea of nature versus nurture and how that is going to traumatize these parents for the rest of their life, as far as like some of the decisions that they made to raise their son, and did that play a part? And I can understand a parent questioning that, especially after something this horrific, but it left me sobbing. Like those last 2 episodes, I'll say it again, it destroyed me. It literally destroyed me. But this is the best television I've seen this year so far. It's highly recommended. Definitely check this out. It's on Netflix, B+. So with that, we will move on to another TV series. Disney Plus's Daredevil Born Again. We'll be talking about that when we come back.
Every minute counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Call your local Poison Center at 1-800-222-1222.
I ran him down. Oh, for Christ's sake. I did what I had to do. I let the system take care of the rest.
Oh, you and your goddamn system. You and your goddamn system. Christ! So what now? Every day Bullseye goes to the chow hall, eats his slop. You know he gets to breathe the same air that you breathe. You feel good about that? He got life! How about old Foggy? He got life.
Frank Castle and Matt Murdock reunite as they continue to argue and debate about the moral complexities of revenge and justice in Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again. All right, Bryan, Daredevil Born Again. So,
how long ago was the first season?
2015, I believe.
So this show has been around for a decade?
Yeah, but this is not season 4, right? This is season 1, right?
I honestly don't know. Like, I'm watching Daredevil Born Again, and I'm going like, is this the same Daredevil that was in She-Hulk? This doesn't feel like the same Daredevil that was in She-Hulk.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, it's all part of one universe. So now it's
too confusing. I mean, it's not even confusing. It's not interesting. Like, I really don't care where Daredevil Born Again fits alongside Avengers Endgame or Fantastic Four First Steps. I think we could just approach Daredevil Born Again as its own thing because the show really that's all it's concerned with.
I mean, there are cameos to make you think, I mean, to let you know that it is part of the MCU. But when I look at these shows, and for me in general, when I look at even the movies in the MCU, I don't look at it as it all tied together. I try to just focus and watch it as a singular thing.
Just tell me a good story.
Just tell me a good story. We say that all the time. So with Daredevil Born Again, it is kind of continuing the story from the Netflix shows, bringing in Karen and Foggy.
But also taking into account the backstory from Hawkeye and Echo a little bit, right? Especially with Fisk.
With Fisk as well. So I do want to say this will be spoilers because the show's been out, and I guess especially what happens in the first episode.
Yeah, spoil what you want to spoil, Bryan.
Yeah, so I mean, the first episode, they kill Foggy. Bullseye targets Foggy and kills him.
And I like, in some ways, that's kind of when I checked out.
Really?
Yeah, like it just, it's a motivation. They fridge Foggy.
Yeah.
And poor Foggy. Like, to me, so much of the joy of Daredevil is the relationship between Matt and Foggy.
Yeah.
And to remove that, to send Matt down this path of despair, which Matt always has to explore. His confrontation with his faith is critical to the character.
Yeah.
But, we get Daredevil in costume, and then we got to get Daredevil out of costume. And I just thought that was a little tired, and robbed us of some story that I think could have been enjoyable if Foggy had been present. I think the action of that sequence, the battle on the rooftop with Bullseye, it's pretty good. It's solid.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the action that we got in the Netflix series, in my opinion.
Yeah, to me, I think a lot of people talk about that first episode, and as far as like the choice to kill Foggy off, I still debate that. I wrestle with that myself. But going to the technical aspects of the filmmaking of it, when I compare that to the original first 3 seasons on Netflix, like they're using a lot more mocap. You could tell in some of those shots because they're doing a oneer because again they want to pay homage to what Netflix has done with those first 3 seasons. But there's shots in there, and then of course when they're having a fight in the bar in Josie's bar. Bullseye does this smoke bomb where you can't really see anything, so it's using that to mask a lot of stuff.
Right.
And I just think that some of that just doesn't. It doesn't look appealing.
Yeah, but it does fall into the problem with a lot of Marvel movies is that they're just stretched too thin, visual effects wise, right?
But then I'm thinking to myself, it's like in the Netflix shows, if you can use real stunt people and real choreography and real act, like why can't we do that
I think,
here?
There are a lot of issues with the production of Daredevil Born Again.
Well,
right?
that's true.
Right? Like,
that's very true.
A lot of the first half of this season, they are trying to cobble together something different than what was intended.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't think you're going to get a great thing as a result. It's rare when you re-glue a thing for it to be as pretty as the original object. Like the concept of Daredevil is so good, right? The crime fighter who's also a lawyer, and he has to balance those two worlds. And the courtroom sequences, especially the White Tiger sequences, I want them to be so riveting, but they're pretty dull in this. I feel like we're falling into some Law and Order rerun territory with Daredevil Born Again's courtroom scenes. John Barenthal coming back as the Punisher. There is something so magnetic about him as a performer, and his interpretation of Frank Castle is compelling.
It is extremely compelling. I mean, and the interactions that he has with Matt Murdock, I think John Barenthal and Charlie Cox, they work well together. And when you see them, just even in the scene, the scene where they meet for the first time in the episode, and then when he comes back in the season finale, when you see the two of them together, you're like, it almost makes you want a Punisher Daredevil series.
Yeah, of
I would
course.
love to see something with the two of them.
Give me a movie, a Marvel team-up film. But here's the problem, and I think this is a problem that we've talked about with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier in particular, is the show goes to a place that has some political fire to it, right? You think about John Walker holding the shield, cutting that person's head off, being filmed by everybody on their iPhones, like the symbol of America, severing this dude's head oh my God.
Yeah.
Isaiah Bradley, the truth of Isaiah Bradley,
Yes.
and how he was exploited by the American government.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, this is prickly. This is interesting.
Yeah,
And then
and
the
then
Falcon
we
and
get-
Winter Soldier just like goes like, nah, never mind.
Yeah.
Bucky can high five John Walker at the end. Okay, whatever. If you say so, bring on Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Daredevil Born Again, here we are, the police of New York City are using the symbol of the Punisher, which is a real life thing. You know, you see the Punisher skull being used by the extreme right.
Yeah.
You see the Punisher skull being used in the military. You see the Punisher skull being used by the police. And, you know, the Punisher as a concept is an anti-systemic thing. Like,
exactly.
The Punisher shouldn't be your symbol, but here we are, weirdly, these cops are now using it in show.
But
let's steal something with it.
Yeah.
And
they
Disney's
don't
not going to do it. Disney's scared.
No.
Disney doesn't want to talk politics.
I mean, they brush over it. It's all surface level. I mean, yeah, Fisk has this task force of basically all of dirty cops, and now they're going out trying to round up all the vigilantes. And yeah, these dirty cops use the symbol of Frank Castle. They look up to Frank Castle. But even Frank Castle at the in the season finale is telling them, it's like, look, I wouldn't, like, you guys are clowns. Like, this is not, you don't, like, he even says it. He's like, you guys don't understand my pain. You don't feel my pain. And it goes to what you're saying. It's like you're using this symbol, but you don't know what he's actually going through.
To what you're saying, it's surface level. It's not actually challenging. They don't want to upset too many people in the making of Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
But Charlie Cox, so good as Matt Murdock.
He is. All the
Vincent D'Onofrio
as Fisk is great. Again, we just talked about John Bernthal. I will say this before we get out of this segment, is that with this being kind of a Frankenstein of a show and being cobbled together to try to, basically they brought in Benson and Moorhead to try to really just get to the finish line. But I'll say this, with those last 2 episodes and what they set up, them going into season 2 fresh, with Benson and Moorhead kind of like being the main creators, it does get me excited for what they can do in season 2 with a fresh start.
They are awesome filmmakers. You know, they have made movies like Resolution and Spring, The Endless. These are great independent filmmakers who are jam-packed with ideas. But they've been spending a lot of time in Marvel, Moon Knight, Loki season 2, Daredevil. I kind of want to see them back in the indie film scene.
I would too. But I can't deny that I am excited for season 2. Just whether it was them or somebody else, the fact that you can start fresh and tell this story.
I will show up just to see what they do without a Frankenstein creation. Right? Like, I will be there for season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, even if this first season left me feeling pretty cold.
So what's your rating?
I don't know, man. Like, I love Marvel. You know, I'm a Marvel zombie for going way back. It pains me when I don't engage with one of their stories, especially featuring one of my all-time favorite characters of Daredevil. But for me, this is a B-. You can skip it.
I'm right on the edge. I wish we had just a straight B, but no, we got plus or minus. I'm going to slightly tip over to a B+ because I think the character work is so strong, and I am excited for how it ended. I think it ended strong, and it does get me excited for where season 2 can go. But I can't deny that there is a lot left on the table with this first season, and will it be a season that I go back to or think, you know, in reverence of it very fondly? Probably not, but I will give it a slight B+.
Yeah, you just want more Kingpin ripping dudes' jaws off, tearing their faces apart.
Yeah, I'm still trying to think how he actually does that.
He's very strong.
Very, very strong.
It's all muscle.
Yeah, even though he has, slimmed down, but, still.
Sad.
Yeah.
I need a big Kingpin.
Yeah, exactly.
CGI that Kingpin.
Yeah, put him back in the suit, man. I don't know. All right, guys. So those are our thoughts on Daredevil. Let's recap what we talked about today. We started with G20. Yeah, that's one you could definitely skip. That was a B- for both of us. But then we move over to Netflix for Adolescence, the miniseries, the riveting miniseries. Definitely a B+. Probably some of the best television you'll see all year. And then we go over to Daredevil Born Again. We slightly split on that one. Brad gave that a B-. I gave it a slight B+. So yeah, those are our thoughts on that. So thank you for joining us on this latest episode of B&B Movie Reviews. Come be a part of the conversation. If you have questions, suggestions, feel free to email us at bnbmoviereviews@gmail.com. And with that, we will see you at the movies.